Hello, this is a demo about a continuation of the big storage redesign, which happened quite some time ago already. And this time it's about the actions in the menus and about the dialogues that are behind these actions. So now with the redesign, we have more space and more places to put actions, and every card has a kebab here on the side, and so we can use this to simplify the dialogues and replace the big format dialogue with smaller ones. So the big format dialogue used to do everything. You could select encryption, and you could keep old encryption or erase encryption and recreate new ones. And you could make swap devices, and you could create partitions of different sizes and all kinds of things. And yeah, that was, in my opinion, difficult to discover, and I hope this now makes it a bit easier. So let's play around with it and see what has changed, or if the new thing makes sense. So this is a XFS file system in an encryption container in a partition on some hard disk here. And if you look at the options, at the actions, I hope they're really the obvious ones now. The file system, you can unmount the file system now. Could unmount it here. Previously, I think you could format it. Wasn't clear what that means to format it here. Now you can only unmount it and mount it. And when you mount it, you need to put in the passphrase, of course, because it's encrypted. You can change the mount options here. Then when we go up to the encryption has the option to lock it. And when you lock it, then the next one is, of course, you can unlock it with the passphrase. So that should all be pretty straightforward. I think previously we didn't have the lock and unlock options for file systems, so now they're always here. And partition, what you would expect, you can shrink and grow and delete it. The new one here that you might have seen also here already is the erase operation. So you cannot just go ahead and put a different file system on this partition now. You would first have to explicitly erase the content of it. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Consequences are spelled out, and now you're left with just the partition. You have erased the content of it, and everything that used to be on it, like the encryption and the file system, have disappeared now. As you can see, there is no unformatted data card here anymore that we needed previously to put the format action in. But now this format action is where it belongs. It's in the partition card. Now you can see what you want to do with it. The shrink and grow is still there. Now you can take this partition and format it as a file system, as swap, or with encryption only, or you can delete it, of course. So normal thing would be to format it as a file system. And now if you look at the list here, these are only file systems here. There's no special BIOS boot entry anymore here or stuff like that, or swap or empty. And yeah, let's try to recreate what we had before. XFS file system with some encryption. Just formatting is enough. No. And it is locked now because it wasn't mounted. So the first thing we could do is unlock it. Then the file system appears, and you have seen that previously we also, when this was locked, I go back, there would be a unlocked or locked data card here because we needed to have the unlock button here in this card and not in the encryption card. That also has been fixed, and we don't need this weird locked data card anymore. So we can just unlock this, and looks like it did before. Yeah, let's maybe go one level higher to the hard drive. And it also only has an erase button action here now. And now we can erase everything that's on it, which includes the partition table. So now we have a empty hard drive, and the main action for it is to initialize it for partitions and or format the whole file system with these options. So let's initialize it for partitions. GPT, of course, and now we can create the partitions. That is also a bit different. Now there's a primary action button for create partitions. You don't need to find the free space anymore and then find this action here. If you don't care in which of your free spaces you create your partition, you can just hit this big button. And now this is a very simple dialog. It used to be very involved and made you create the file system immediately, but now it just gives you the idea that, okay, it's fine to make an empty partition, but if you want, you can also immediately go and make a file system. But let's do it step by step in the Cockpit interactive way of doing things. Let's just first create the partition. Then it tells you, yeah, it's just a partition. Then we can format it with encryption only, for example. Now, there isn't even any file system involved yet. You would do that if you want to make an encrypted physical volume, for example. So now it's an encrypted partition. And now we could lock it, or we can now go further and put a file system on this now. Now there are no encryption options here anymore. Let's put the ext4 on it. And now it's an ext4 file system encrypted. And if you want to change the file system but keep the encryption, then you have to first erase the encrypted device. Partition stays, encryption stays, and then just be formatted it with a different file system. Yeah. I hope this all makes sense, and you all think now, okay, how could it be any different? But if you compare it with the existing actions, then you will hopefully see that this makes more sense and is an improvement. Thanks a lot.